Hey YouTube, Alien 2000 49655 here. This is vlog number 23. I had to look over here at the screen to see what number this was. I do these so infrequently now that I often forget what number I'm on. Well, I talked a little bit about these things on my last video. I think it was last week sometime. And I got a little bin on the floor behind me that's got some DVDRs, burnable discs. That a couple of them I screwed up the burn on. Now I don't have the standoffs yet, but I figured, why don't I dig out one of those discs and try super gluing these on? Run the power connectors around the edge of the disc. Let's see. Now I'm not going to use this disc because this is a perfectly good. It's one of my game discs and also one of my favorite discs. There's my Need for Speed Shift disc. But I was thinking about doing something like this. You see that little connector? This little connector right under this little white rectangle right here. If I could put a bunch of these around the edge like this. Maybe I can super glue these on, put them on with crazy glue. Won't hurt the transistors and won't overheat the LEDs. And hold on a second, get the fingerprints I just put on my game disc off. I'm surprised I even used a perfectly good disc. I'm a stickler about how CDs and DVDs are handled. A lot of people will hold a disc like this. That's not how you're supposed to hold them. You gotta hold them by the edges, or put your pinky through the center and hold it with your thumb like this. I've seen so many Redbox movies that have fingerprints and scratches all over them because people don't know how to handle these things. And because it's not theirs, they don't care. They make it the next guy's problem. I at least have the common courtesy to take care of those. If the time comes where I should ever sell this off, that disc is in like new condition and I can get more for it. Now, this game is old enough, I'm probably only going to get $5 or $6 out of it. 10 if I charge shipping. The reason why I say charge shipping is because I do have an eBay account and I do occasionally put things up for sale. It might be a little harder to find now because at one time when I set up my YouTube account and my eBay account, the idents were exactly the same. It was Alien 2000 49655. Now, since I've moved to a new zip code, my eBay account has a new zip code tacked onto the end of it. That'll tell you what town I'm in, what state I'm in, but it won't tell you exactly where I am, so I feel safe in telling you this. Now, one of my previous videos you saw my first name, or at least my nickname. It is Jake. You're not getting my last name, and everybody knows that Jake is usually short for Jacob. I prefer Jake. I never liked the sound of Jacob, and it's a biblically based name. And I looked at the meaning of names. One reason why I don't like Jacob is because it's after Jacob the betrayer, Jacob and Esau. Now, he did it under the behest of God, which I kind of find a little fishy, but he essentially suckered Esau out of his birthright. I don't want to be associated with somebody that will hoodwink somebody like that. Now, I'm no angel. I'm not perfect. I have made mistakes. I've told you in previous videos that I do have a misdemeanor criminal record. But I got convicted in 2000. It is 2014 now, and I haven't even gotten so much as a traffic violation in 14 years. Well, it's going on 14 years. It's actually only been 13 in a few months. But still, 14 days in jail was enough to scare me straight. I did not want to get myself to a point where I would do a long stint in prison or do any kind of jail time. I'm extremely claustrophobic, and it could be a big, huge commons room, but if I know I can't get out, I know I'm trapped, and my claustrophobia is triggered. The last time I was in there, I nearly committed suicide. If the guards hadn't been on top of their game, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. Here's an interesting subject. Now, I'm guilty of this next subject. I believe suicide is a cowardly act. It's somebody that would rather take the easy way out than face the music. And there was a point in my life where I was pretty cowardly. But I've moved on, and I made it so I don't have to face that particular situation anymore. If I could, I'd clear my record, but I've got too many convictions for an expungement. Plus, violent crimes can't be expunged, at least not in the state of Michigan, which is where I was living when I got convicted. You may have already seen this in previous videos, but I was convicted of domestic violence. I don't beat up on my girlfriends. I normally don't beat up on my roommates either. But circumstances pushed me to my limit and I snapped. Now that's no excuse. Violence is violence no matter which way you look at it. But it was unjustified violence, and that's the part I have a problem with, and I'm still ashamed of it to this day. But I'm not going to deny it. I'm trying to be an open book with my vlog. I'll tell you right now, I do not like the man who's currently serving in office right now. And for you, all you bigots out there, I am not a racist. I don't mind having a black man in office. I just think we got the wrong one in office. The wrong man, not the wrong black man. He could be a white man and he could still be the wrong man. Some of my best friends are black. I even had a black girlfriend for a while. But that didn't exactly work out. I just hope I don't get a child support letter here in the future, but it's been 16 years and I haven't heard anything from her, so I'm guessing that either I dodged a bullet or my fish don't swim upstream. I don't know which, and I really don't care. But yeah, I've sowed my wild oats. I've committed crimes, relatively minor compared to some of the others that are out there. I'm hoping that there are prisons out there with internet access that are seeing this. I mean, how often do you see a vlog by a self-confessed convict or ex-con? Now, if you're convicted of anything, you're a convict. It doesn't matter whether you're a felon or misdemeanor. If you're convicted, you're a convict. And if you're a former convict, that means you've served your time, paid your fines, and worked your way out of the hole you dug yourself into. Because of the domestic violence, thanks to Senator Laudenberg, I'm not sure how you're supposed to pronounce it, he pushed through an act a retroactive law that took effect back to 1963 forward. That if you're ever convicted of domestic violence, despite being a misdemeanor, you lose your gun rights. I don't like that law. I think it infringes on the Second Amendment. But there's nothing I can do about it, and with me, I think it's well-founded. If I realize that I can be pushed to becoming violent and I don't want to even think about what would happen if I was pushed to violence with a firearm. I mean, there's plenty enough dangerous items in this world. Guns for me are at least out of the question. Now, I am a gun fan. I mean, I support the Second Amendment. I believe that people have the right to defend themselves. But you don't necessarily need to do it. The Second Amendment says you have the right to bear arms. It doesn't specify what kind of arms those are. Sorry, I'm mushing my words here. But at the time that amendment was made, the most powerful firearm we had available to us were flintlock muskets. You know, and I mean, that's back when the colonies, we were just coming out of the colonial times and we had just declared our independence. And people needed to, there were no supermarkets, there were no gas stations, there wasn't even a railroad at that time. And people needed food. And considering a lot of the American territory had a lot of wild fauna, they would hunt turkeys, deer, buffalo. Some of the colonists brought over livestock, which were taken out by the wolf population, and wolves get a bad rap. They're just doing what they're naturally born to do. I mean, now they're endangered, but anyway, back to the Second Amendment. I'm fully in support of it. Somebody who hasn't put themselves in the same situation that I'm in, I don't have a problem with them owning guns. Tell you one thing, if we get into a zombie apocalypse or something like that, or some way that where the laws basically become null and void, I'll grab whatever weapon I have available, and if that happens to be a pistol or a rifle, you better believe I'm going to use it. I'm biding my time until something like that happens. Now, it may not happen in my lifetime, but the way history seems to be playing out, especially since the last few presidential administrations, we're going to end up with civil unrest very quickly here. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, it could be 5 years down the road. And if Obama does what I think he's trying to do and takes control as a dictator and turns us communist, all that's not going to matter anyway, and we're all going to have our guns taken away anyway, which will cause civil unrest. But hopefully he never gets to that point before his term in office ends. But I'll be willing to bet the next president right after him is going to continue doing what Obama's doing right now. He is paving the way for a socialist communist country. And socialism and communism are basically one and the same. They're the same type of governmental structure with two different names. There are some minor differences between the two, but I call those semantics. You know, semantics, excuse me. Well, this is going to have to be part 1. This is vlog 23, part A. I got to come back on part B because I'm reaching the 15-minute window that YouTube has imposed on me for not monetizing my account. I don't have the money to monetize it, so I'm going to pause right here and you go down to the next video in the playlist. If you have autoplay set, then it'll already start playing. But I'll see you then.